I can eat cookies and donuts and reach my goals.
And all I gave you is gold.
Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So today I want to do an extremely important video, and that is what is flexible dieting, macros, how do I get into tracking, how do I start doing this and incorporating it into my life. Now, if you guys don't know this, I do offer online coaching. I've been getting so many inquiries lately requesting on tracking macros, flexible dieting, and this is a semi-new concept in the fitness industry. So today I'm just going to kind of break down what is flexible dieting, how do I get started, and what is the purpose behind this whole thing. So first I'm going to start by defining what flexible dieting is. Flexible dieting gives you the freedom to eat foods that you like that will help you achieve your goal, whether that be gaining weight, losing weight, putting on muscle, whatever it is your goal is, flexible dieting can work for you. Flexible dieting is also an approach that you can use for any sort of like dietary restrictions. So if you're a vegetarian, if you're a vegan, if you have celiac disease where you have to eat gluten-free, this is something that can work for you. The reason why I like flexible dieting is nothing is off limits. And you're probably thinking, so you're telling me I can eat cookies and donuts and reach my goals? In theory, yes. In moderation though. Macros are what rule your world when it comes to flexible dieting. What are your macros? Macros are proteins, carbs, and fats. Protein, carbs, and fats are what equal calories. 1 gram of carbohydrate yields to 4 calories. 1 gram of protein yields to 4 calories. And fat tends to be more calorically dense. 1 gram of fat equals 9 calories. So you guys are probably like, how do you figure out how many calories you're eating then? For example, don't actually write this down and follow this. So for example, let's say someone's diet was 150 grams of protein, 150 grams of carbs, and 50 grams of fat. That diet would equal 1,650 calories. I hope you guys kind of get the idea of that when it comes to macros and like the numbers and how they equal calories. Now, when you guys are wondering how do I track my macros and figure out my macros, there's a lot of variables that are involved in this. One, I do recommend hiring a coach if you don't have one and you have some sort of income to kind of invest in yourself and your health when it comes to figuring out your macros and wanting to get started to tracking. But there's also a lot of calculators out there to figure out your macros and kind of get an idea of how many calories you should be eating. However, it's not the most accurate tool or method to figure out your macros just because it doesn't take into account your past with dieting, all these other variables that a coach would have that they could help figure out your macros for you and make it more customized. I actually do offer online coaching, so if any of you guys are interested, please feel free to email me. I can gladly help you with this process and make it a lot less confusing. So we broke down what macros are and how they equal calories. So let's talk about how are we going to be accountable and start tracking these macros. Now one, if you're going to go balls to the wall super serious with this, I recommend measuring your food with a food scale. This is going to be 100% the most accurate way to see portion sizes, to understand what 50 grams of berries looks like, or to understand what 2 tablespoons of peanut butter really looks like, because let's be honest, we all way overestimate that one. Measuring your food just for a week to understand portion sizes is crucial when it comes to starting flexible dieting. Do you have to measure your food out all the time for the rest of your life? No, absolutely not. If you're in like some sort of competition prep, that would be different. However, I do not think the everyday population, just lifestyle clients, should be weighing out their food every single day for the rest of their life. That is not a way to live. However, getting started with a food scale is awesome because it teaches you portion sizes and it's just a very visual way to see your food, and it can teach you a lot. Now the other thing to get started is you're going to need some sort of app on either your phone or just pen and paper to track your macros. You have your food weighed, so what you're going to do is use some sort of app and track the food that you're eating as you keep going. For me, I like MyFitnessPal. I like to look at my macros like a budget. So if I were given 150 grams of carbs, 150 grams of protein, and 50 grams of fat, That's my budget that I'm starting with for the day. And then as my day continues on, I'm gonna have less and less of those numbers. So like around lunchtime, I'd be at like 70 protein, 70 carb, and only 25 fat. That just kind of gives you an idea of how the numbers start very high and then will slowly dwindle down throughout the entire day as you keep eating until eventually you're within like 3 or 5 grams. I would say that that's pretty adherent to your macros. Do you have to hit your macros spot on every single day to like be super successful? I would say no. I would say give yourself about 3 to 5 grams, unless you're talking about fat. Give yourself about like 1 to 3 grams of being off, and then that's pretty adherent. You're getting pretty close. You don't have to be a perfectionist when it comes to this. If you are in prep, that's a whole nother story. I'm just talking about lifestyle people. So if you're like relatively just a few grams away, that's really adherent to your macros, and good job to you because you're doing an awesome job. The other thing when it comes to tracking your macros is you have to think about what your goal is. So if your goal is fat loss, make sure that your weight is corresponding with that goal. If you are just doing this by yourself without a coach helping you, I would recommend tracking for a week and also tracking your weight every single day, and then taking the average of that number and seeing if you're gaining weight, losing weight, or maintaining your weight. For example, if you are gaining weight at a certain calorie amount, let's say 2,000 calories, and you tracked every single day and you got an idea of what your macros were, if you're gaining weight, maybe cut a few grams of carbs, cut a few grams of fat, do the whole process again of tracking again and taking your weight again, and then seeing if you're losing weight or not. If you're losing weight, then that's a deficit and you're on your track of losing weight and having fat loss. However, if your goal is the opposite, then you would want to do vice versa. So if your goal is to gain weight or gain some lean muscle, you would want to track again and then see if you're gaining weight. If you're not, you can always add a few grams of carbohydrates, add a few grams of fat, and then do the same process again, see if you're gaining weight, and if you are, then you're headed towards your goal. That's the whole point. A couple misconceptions when it comes to flexible dieting is you can eat whatever the heck you want. That's not very true. You should always make sure that your diet is about 85% like whole, clean foods. If you guys don't know what whole, clean like foods are, go to a farmer's market, get an idea. It's fruits, it's vegetables, it's whole grains, like oatmeal, it's nice like meats, like stuff that's just not overly processed. That's what a whole food is. And that's what you want your whole diet to be mostly comprised of. Now the other 15% is your little bit of wiggle room, where if you can fit an Oreo into your day, go ahead and fit a cookie into your day. That's completely fine. But I also suggest that you get plenty of vegetables and fruits and nice whole foods to nourish your body, because your body deserves that nourishment. Other things to consider when you're starting your flexible dieting journey or wanting to track macros is making sure you're getting enough fluids. I find a lot of people don't drink enough water, so make sure when you're starting this sort of like diet and tracking your macros, or just paying more attention to what you're consuming, is also pay attention to what you're drinking, because drinks have calories, guys. Like, have you seen a Frappuccino, like those crazy whipped cream with the caramel, everything delicious and amazing, but that's like 500 calories. That's a lot. So I really recommend you guys just switching to like a water or a black coffee, something with a little bit less calories in it, and that's something you'll also learn with tracking macros. So at the end of the day, I really love flexible dieting. I think it teaches you so much about food, it teaches you so much about portion sizes, and it's something that you can utilize for the rest of your life. Ideally, I want all of like my clients and people that get into fitness and wanting to pay more attention to their food, I want them all to track their macros at first. But eventually I want everyone to also transition into intuitive eating, where they can start to eyeball their portions instead of weighing everything out to the gram and being so meticulous, because that is not a way to live, being so meticulous with your diet. Flexible dieting, tracking macros is a tool, and then once you become an expert at this tool and have really learned a lot about food, and then you feel more comfortable with it, I highly recommend switching to intuitive eating. Now, if you guys would like to learn more about intuitive eating, I will gladly do a video on that. That's currently what I'm doing right now because I have been tracking macros for 3 years and I just finished my bikini preps. I did 7 shows this year, so I'm switched to intuitive eating, listening to my body and my hunger cues, and I feel awesome. I hope you guys liked today's video and that it was somewhat helpful for any of you who are looking into tracking macros. Some closing notes is if you guys don't have MyFitnessPal, I recommend downloading that app right away. It is free. I'm not affiliated at all with them, but that is the app that I have been using and I love the app so much. And I can also do a tutorial on how to use MyFitnessPal and ways and tricks to make it a little bit easier to navigate because it can be kind of confusing when you start. Now, I hope you all are having a great day. And if you guys have any more questions, anything you need help with, please leave it in the comments down below. And also guys, don't forget to like this video and hit subscribe. It just helps support my channel and it helps me make more videos for you guys. I hope you all are having an awesome day and I will see you in the next video.
They're about to see us glow.